Hey everyone, I'm Dwight Strew of Maxwell Polaris. There's been a lot of press lately on the practice of blind bidding in real estate, and likely because the federal Liberals said they're going to ban the practice. Well, today I want to share with you why I'm opposed to ending this practice. But first, to be super transparent, I don't benefit from the blind bidding process personally, but yes, many of our clients do. Now, you could argue that by selling a house for more, I earn more commission, and that's true, but quite frankly, it's negligible. And we work with both buyers and sellers, so sometimes our clients benefit from this practice, and other times they lose out. But for those of you who don't know what blind bidding is, it refers to how multiple offers or bidding wars on properties are handled when there's more than one buyer making an offer. Now, currently, and for the last 33 years I've been in business, the practice is that when competing for a property, buyers place an offer blind. And that is, they know there's another offer or offers, but not any of the details of those offers. So the offers are kept confidential. Now, buyers are often counseled to place their best offer up front because they may not get another opportunity. They may not get a counter offer. And so sometimes the offers can be very close, but sometimes there can be quite a discrepancy. So let's say you have a home listed for $400,000 and one of the offers could be $390,000, but the other could be $400,000 or even $410,000. So you could argue, well, they overpaid, but did they really? I mean, who's to say what the house is actually worth? Just because one party offered $390,000 doesn't mean it was only worth that. They may have offered lower than market value. In real estate, we have a saying that a property is worth whatever someone is willing to pay for it. So to one buyer, a property may only be worth $390,000, but another buyer may feel it's worth $410,000, perhaps because it fits their needs better, or maybe they're more motivated to find a home, or perhaps they have more financial resources. But ultimately, it's the buyers in the market who determine what a property is worth, not the sellers. So why has this issue of blind bidding come up now after so many years? Well, because in Ontario in particular, homes lately have sometimes been selling for hundreds of thousands of dollars over the asking price. And the argument is this is inflating home values. And of course, if you're in Canada, well, we all know everything seems to revolve around Ontario. It's not unlike a few years ago when CMHC implemented new mortgage rules, including a stress test. That was supposed to cool overheated markets, but it also affected all markets, including those in Alberta, which were already experiencing tough market conditions. The fact is, I don't believe blind bidding is driving up home prices so much as historically low interest rates are. If blind bidding is outlawed, it just means sellers will take the approach of raising their asking prices to see if the market will pay. So instead of listing your home at $500,000 and the market bidding it up to, let's say, $520,000, realtors will encourage their home sellers to ask $550,000 and entertain lower offers. If the market determines it's worth $520,000, they're still going to get the same price. So how does that slow price increases? But here's why I'm really opposed to ending the practice. Because it's a free market, and the market should determine the value. The government doesn't have any business getting involved in influencing the market. If the prices get too high, the market will adjust. That's how markets are intended to work. Nobody forces a buyer to make an offer or how much to offer. Buyers decide if they will submit an offer and for how much. So shouldn't a homeowner have the right to decide how they want to market their home? I mean, don't they have the right to get the highest price they possibly can? And this has only become an issue because some markets in Canada are in a hot seller's market, but what happens when it becomes a buyer's market? From 2014 to 2020, Edmonton experienced the worst seller's market I've seen in my career. Home sellers were getting really beat up on their price because buyers knew they were in the driver's seat. Home sellers were routinely losing not just thousands or tens of thousands, but even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Well, did the government step in then and say, this isn't fair to home sellers? We need to introduce rules to protect them from buyers who make low offers? Of course not. So why should they now be implementing rules that favor buyers over sellers? It kind of reminds me of back in about 2006 when our market was really good and we saw rents increasing. Well, there were cries among some of our city council, I remember, that the provincial government should be enacting rent controls to prevent landlords from increasing rents. Well, this was a very short-lived problem. Might have been about a year or so. And then guess what? Vacancy rates went up, rents went down. The market corrected. But was anybody asking the government to protect landlords who were faced with vacant properties? Of course not. In short, sellers should be permitted to market their homes as they choose to maximize their selling price. Buyers should be permitted to make an offer or not make an offer based on what they feel the property is worth to them. And the federal government should stay out of it and do what they do best, which is, I don't know, spend our tax dollars, I guess. Hey, that's my rant for today, everyone. Thanks for watching.